Hey guys, welcome to the video. This week's Track Talk with Devon Allen. A lot of cool stuff talking about being a football player at Oregon, playing in the Rose Bowl, being an Olympic hurdler, what's training like as a hurdler. Learned a lot of stuff about that. So super insightful, super fun interview with Devon. Appreciate everybody in the support we had on the first video, support we're having on the stream, all the follows, subs, people hanging out in the Track Talks, people playing games, people asking questions. Stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, sometimes other days. So make sure to jump over. Link will be in the description for the Twitch channel. And appreciate all the support so far. So make sure you do subscribe, so that way you know when the videos go live on here. And then jump over and hang out in the stream. Love to have you guys. So enjoy the video with Devon. Nico's coming soon, and we'll get that video up here on YouTube. But I appreciate everything so far. Appreciate the support, and enjoy the video. Thanks, guys. You're all good then?
Yep, all good.
All right. Well, Track Talk Thursday once again. Welcome everybody who's just jumping into the chat. This week's guest is Devon Allen, known for many of things, not for his Call of Duty gameplay, but probably more for his probably more known for his success on the track, on the football field. When did you graduate from U of O then? Officially, have you got your degree and everything?
27. Yeah, 2017.
What was your degree in?
Yeah, I got a BA, so business.
Oh,
business
nice.
degree.
Nice.
Yeah.
So ran at Oregon. Now runs for Nike. 110 hurdler. 2016 Olympian. 5th in Rio, right?
Yep, 5th. Unfortunately, didn't get to put my name on that wall. But, you know,
we can talk about that.
About
We'll just lead with that. dude. I didn't even. As soon as I said that you were 5th in Rio, that's the first thing that came to my head was that wall. So we heard that I was rooming with Devon. So our room was you, Robbie Andrews, Christian Coleman, Don Cabral, and Connor McCullough, the hammer thrower.
Yep. Yeah.
And so before we started Rio, we thought we'd be like the swimmers and we're going to sign our names for every one of us that got a medal. And funny enough, I signed the name because I was the first one to be in the final, signed my name on the wall. And no one else ended up signing their name on the wall. So it's just my name on the wall by itself.
It was tough because you had all these great gestures where I thought I was going to, win a medal. And then Christian was on the 4x1 and they ended up, bobbling the baton. So yikes. But yeah, so no, but that's kind of funny, because we assumed that they would paint over the wall, even though they might not have. And whoever lives in that apartment now has your autograph on the wall forever.
Yeah, they might have never actually painted over it. We'll never know. But yeah, so
we should go back.
So Devon and I were roommates in Rio, along with a couple other guys. So let's get into it. I really want to talk about, because you're obviously a huge football athlete, football star, as well as on the track. Like, were you when you're growing up as a kid, was it all football or was it all track, or did they go hand in hand when you were younger?
Well, I started football first. I started playing when I was 6. When I lived in Seattle, Washington, that's where I was originally born. And then I moved to Phoenix. I was maybe 7 or 8, and just like one summer, I played like all the sports. I played basketball, I played soccer, baseball, football, and one summer I was at like YMCA, like a summer program for kids. Parents worked in the day and stuff like that. So I was there, and one of the volunteers, her name's Judith Anya Panuka, and she was actually a really good sprinter at USC. I think she ran like 22.8 or something like that in the 200. And her dad was a club track coach in Phoenix, so she saw me run one day and was like, "Hey, you should run track." And the next, like later that year, like in November when they started like doing the pre-season conditioning stuff, I went out there and ran, and the rest is history.
So you started, so everything was revolved around the track, getting on the track. Like, what ended up drawing you like the football field then? Just high school?
I mean, I think I just always played it. I guess like it's like one of the earliest sports I have, like a 5 or 6 year old playing tackle football, and my dad ball and stuff like that. So I think it just always did it, and football season was in the fall, and actually I played fall and spring football until like high school, and then then in high school I kind of decided that I was going to stick to football and track, and not give up basketball and soccer and baseball and all that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, uh, going through high school, was it being a first round draft pick or was it being an Olympian? I mean, what was really like your goal leaving high school?
It's hard to really say because I knew when you're in high school as a football player, it's like there's so many people, right? So you got to and I would say I'm pretty smart, but I was realistic in the sense that I had a good chance of running track as a professional, and um, football was I was also good at football and everything like that. And obviously, I went to college for football, but when I was running like 20.7 in the 200 and 1040 and 13.3 in the hurdles, I was like, man, I really got a good chance of doing this Olympic thing. Not that I didn't have a good chance of being, a professional football player, and I still think I do in the future. But yeah, it was definitely like my senior year in high school. I was like, yeah, I can run the Olympics. It was like my goal in 2012, the year before my junior year. I was like, I'm gonna run 2016, and that was 4 years later. So
Yeah, I mean, to be stuck with that decision, I mean, I think a lot of us would wish we had the decision to make between being the best football player we could be or being the best track and field athlete we could be. But
did you just always run track?
dude,
Like
well, I mean, me, it was like
yeah,
I played soccer. I mean, soccer was my thing. Like, if you look at back at my
yeah,
elementary, it was always like Division 1 soccer player, Division 1 soccer player. But we just had we had like a co-ed soccer team, so like there was like no chance I was gonna get recruited for soccer. Period. Like, I go to a local community college if I wanted to play soccer. Like, it was just such a bad program. So if I was gonna go
yeah.
anywhere for school, like I had to do it on the tracks, and so I just had success on the track and had more opportunities just based on like the high school I was in. Um, but I would have loved to be Division 1 soccer. Would have loved it. Who knows? I'm glad I made the choice. I guess I did. I'm glad you made. I mean, you made a pretty good choice too. So, um,
Yeah, no, it's solid.
speaking of so choices, so ended up choosing University of Oregon. Once you graduated high school, where else did you look? What was kind of your recruiting process like as a dual sport athlete? Was it crucial to find one that matched both, or was it if you could find one that really matched track and field, or what kind of year was your recruiting journey like?
Um, it was pretty whirlwindy. I would say like my junior year, started getting recruited a lot, just by both sports. So I ended up having 60, 70 scholarship offers, from football and track and all the schools across the country. Um, but my biggest thing in my decision and stuff like that was just a school that let me do both, and obviously Oregon did. Um, but there were a few schools that was in. Uh, my first choice until Oregon was Stanford, and then so I was going to go to Stanford, and then but the choice after that probably UCLA. Kind of I was West Coast kid.
Yeah,
I visited Florida State. I did Ohio State where my dad went to college. I went to Michigan and I went to Notre Dame as well. Took a look at those schools, and kind of got a feel for them. But in my head, I was always kind of like West Coast guy. So yeah, that's what kind of led me to the decision, and I really just had to go somewhere that was football and track, that would let me do both, and I felt like they would let me do it, and they already had athletes at Oregon that did both, you know. So
gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. I didn't know your dad went to Ohio State.
yeah, yeah, he's
That's
from
where
Columbus.
that's where my dad went too. My dad went to Ohio State.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. What
Um,
year did he graduate?
Back when they
How old is your dad?
what he's now you're gonna put me on the spot here, and I don't want to say the wrong age because he's probably watching, and I'll get in trouble. He's 55, 56.
Okay, so he's a little bit younger than my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you
my
have
dad
went with
was
would you have
there.
been on team with Christian McCaffrey though at Stanford?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
What's up?
yeah. I played against him. I played against him 2 years of my three that I played football. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I would have been on the same team.
That would have been pretty
Yeah,
dynamic duo and pretty hard to stop that. I mean, it's not like Oregon was a bad team when you were there,
yeah.
obviously, but Stanford would have
No,
been
for
pretty.
sure.
Who was the quarterback at
Nah,
Stanford then?
I couldn't even tell you.
Must not have been that good. Must not have been
I
that good.
couldn't even tell you. No, well, I played offense obviously, so I'm not scouting the quarterbacks, and then I know Christian McCaffrey because I played punt team and kickoff and all that stuff too. So I had to run down there and tackle him. So I had to keep that in mind, and I did tackle him. Pretty much a game winning tackle. I wouldn't say game winning tackle, but we were in the end zone at Stanford, and we punted out of our end zone, and I tackled him on like the 40 or 50 yard line. So he didn't get returned there until we stopped him and held him to not scoring and ended up winning the game. So
Who's
pretty
faster?
good.
Who's faster?
Who's faster?
Yeah.
Oh, me for sure. I mean, no,
So
he's fast.
you're just faster. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
All
Um,
right.
So what was it like to be a part of like I mean I feel like there's a lot of athletes who always dream of being a part of like the big schools the big football programs the Ohio States, the Texas, the USC's, the Oregons. What was it like to be a part of such a rich tradition? I mean obviously it's Phil Knight's baby. I mean it had a lot of with my time spent in Oregon with Ari, I've seen a lot of the facilities and seen what you guys have access to, and it's incredible. What's it like as an athlete to be able to have that for college?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Shout out. But yeah, we just, at Oregon we had the best facilities and really the best, um, you know, best things and stuff for student athletes. Not just like athletic stuff, athletic buildings and equipment, but also academic stuff for student athletes as well. That kind of set us up to be great, and so you can't really complain. We were like the ones that pioneered the crazy locker room. We had the crazy weight room at Oregon. We have all these turf fields and all that stuff, and now we have the crazy track. With New Hayward Field and stuff like that. Um, so it's just one of those things that you know we were kind of set. We were like the pioneer.
Gotcha.
Hey Barry.
That's who we really wanted to interview is Barry.
Yeah.
So Barry,
What's
what's it
up, dude?
like have your dad be an
Uh,
Olympian?
I don't know. I'm sure he doesn't. Well, he's pretty lazy, so I don't like. People always ask me when I walk him. They're like, "Oh, do you like take him on runs and stuff because you're a runner?" I'm like, "No, I've never went on a run ever."
What's he gonna go run? Wind
And
sprints, like the tough workouts. I can't wait till the next tweet. It's like toughest workout of my life. Barry running 300s with me or something.
oh no, absolutely not. I'm hopefully I can stay away from 300s. Um, I got a good TikTok idea for that when that does come up.
Another hard
Start my
workout. You got a
TikTok
TikTok.
career.
There you go.
Yeah,
Take off.
my
Take
my
off.
TikTok career.
Take off the TikTok. You guys have a boxing ring in your lifting, right? In your weightlifting in the
Yeah,
gym.
and the new weight room at Oregon. Yeah.
I saw. I remember that.
Uh,
It's like because you have like the turf
we,
balcony, and then you got like a boxing ring, and I mean I've never been in the locker room, but I mean I've seen obviously like where you guys have like the breakfast and stuff and all that stuff. I mean it's that place is incredible. Um,
mhm.
how do you balance being in college and balance being a high level athlete at a university like Oregon, where it's a high pressure, high performance situation? How do you balance being two sports, go to school, you obviously graduated with a business degree, and have any kind of life? any kind of friends.
Yeah, you're just busy. Um, I guess the thing for me is like, and that's the thing that's kind of hard being a pro, and you know, because we just talked about it, is like, what do you do with your day?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, like we train for 3 4 hours a day, and that's a big part of it. But when I was in college, I was explaining this to some of the guys here where I'm training now, and I would get up 6 a.m. because that's well probably earlier, like 5:30. I had treatment at 6 a.m. And then we had to lift at like 7:07, 7:14, whatever time Coach Rad had for us. He had very specific times, and then we go from lift to like about like 8:15, and then we had special teams meetings at 8:30. So 8:30 to whatever, and then 9 o'clock we would have our position meetings, and so we do that very quickly for about 15 20 minutes right before practice, like our install, and then we go out to the field like 9:30, and we have about a half 2 hour practice till like 11:30, and we shower, lunch, shower, or eat breakfast probably, shower, and then class from 12 to 2, and then I have track practice at 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then at 4 o'clock I have another class till 6, and then at 6 o'clock I have evening meetings that started at 5:45, so I was already late. So I get to meetings, and that's from like 6, to 7 or 7:30, and then we have dinner 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I go home and do whatever work I have to do and go to sleep, and then get up at 5:30 again, and
Do it
you
all
know,
over.
yeah. So definitely busy, but like I had good structure, and obviously that's what I wanted to do, right? Like it's my choice
Yeah.
to run track and play football. So it's what, and I enjoyed I enjoyed going out there and playing and then running track and doing all that stuff. So um, during the springs, I try to keep my class load back, just so like I would only have 2 classes a day, at the maximum. So I'm not like 6 hours a day in class and then trying to train for another 6 hours. So
Gotcha. Were you the only dual sport at the time when you were there? Were you the only one doing both?
no, we had Charles Nelson, who was a receiver with me, Tony Burks James,
Oh yeah, Tony.
Charles plays in the Canadian League. Tony, I think, is actually in the NFL right now. I think he was last with the Cowboys, and then Kirk Merritt, but
Okay.
he transferred to Arkansas State. So but we had a couple guys. Pretty
Gotcha.
much like half our majority of our 4x1 was football at the
Yeah.
time.
You guys had the fastest, cause what Ohio State kind of always ran their football guys, right? Or still do. They run some of their football guys in their 4x1, right? Their 4x4.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they have to. No offense to Ohio State, but
I mean, did you
when you
guys have
don't
the
when you don't have,
fastest 4x1 in football?
eh, I would say so. I would say we probably did. The thing with like I think TCU had like two or three of the guys in 2015 that ran track. One of the guys ran like 20 40, and the other guy ran like 10 flat, and they were like, they played football. So they had a pretty solid football one, but
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Somebody in chat here just asked, what's Devin's favorite non-running memory from Oregon? I was getting ready to say you
Favorite
probably don't.
not
When you were going off your schedule and I saw this comment, I'm like, he's not gonna have any
yeah.
memories other than being in class or in the meeting or on the practice field.
Yeah.
But you gotta have something. You gotta have something.
Favorite non-Oregon memory that was
I guess
non-running, I guess.
non-running. I mean, you just
Non-sports
bring up
related.
football. Yeah, do non-sports
Yeah.
related.
Um, I think like, during track season we didn't have, or in the summer when we didn't have much like we didn't have like spring games or track meets on Saturdays. We get the weekends, and I remember my buddies, Johnny Munt, Cameron, Jake Pisarcik, Kanai, and all those guys. We used to play poker on Saturdays and Sundays, and that's always fun. Is like just hanging out with the boys. So I guess my favorite non-running memories is hanging out with the boys, kind of just chilling. Like a nice day in summer in Oregon is, you lived in Oregon for a bit. It's
A nice summer day in
nice
Oregon's
80. Oh, it's you
nice day
can't beat it.
anywhere. You can't beat it.
You can't beat it.
You
It's
can't beat
about
it.
80 degrees and just chill. So
Uh, you guys pretty much practice football though year round inside. I mean, unless it's a super nice day outside. I mean, you're pretty much in the mo probably. I'm guessing for majority of practices when it's raining and stuff.
yeah, we did some spring and some summer, but usually in the fall we train like fall camp and then maybe one or two games. And right when it started raining, we just started moving stuff in and practicing the mo because we had to take all the equipment and the equipment managers that do a great job. They have to move the stuff back and forth, and we decided to change it out. So once it started raining, we just like, all right, even if the day is nice, we're just gonna go inside anyways. Like
Gotcha. Makes
so
sense. Makes sense.
but probably by like October.
Yeah. Once you hit October in Oregon, it's like see you later to those nice summer days and hello to the gray
Yeah,
skies
but
and
like
dreary rain.
the first bit, like halfway through October, you're like, man, this might be a solid October, and then Halloween hits and it's raining and yeah,
Game over.
tough,
Um,
tough.
so we talked about it a little bit before we got back on stream of you kind of coming back from the current Achilles thing you're facing. Um, but even while you were at Oregon and in college and even a little bit there as you were finishing up, you faced a bunch of the knee injuries. Um, I mean, obviously, I think the most famous one's obviously the Rose Bowl injury. Right off the bat, I think everybody kind of, even if you're not a Devon Allen fan or watching the Rose Bowl, you kind of remember everything happening with that. What was the tough part? And talk us a little bit about your journey through these injuries in college, both on the mental and the physical side, and what it really took to get yourself back. Because obviously, as a hurdler, as a sprinter, and as an explosive football player, your knee is extremely important. So, like, what was your kind of journey around those injuries?
I think the hardest part is probably and it's cliche to say, but it's the mental part of it because being an elite athlete your whole life, you're used to just being an elite athlete and just being explosive and running around and doing, pretty like what you would like most people would consider amazing things, but just like doing them normally and easily. So like yeah, like you said, 2015 tore my ACL, my right ACL, in the Rose Bowl. It was frustrating, obviously. But I just did the rehab. Took me about 8 months to kind of feel decent. So I missed that track season. And even that football season the next year that I played in 2015, I still wasn't quite confident in myself, like mentally. I feel like I wasn't really back to where I needed to be and how I felt as an athlete before. Moving around and fitness and all this stuff. So I kind of like just like a doesn't even count. Even though I played like I think I played like 8 of the games or 10 of the games that year. Um, if you look at my career stats, it's like my freshman year I had like 7 or 8 touchdowns, like about 700 or 800 yards receiving, like 45 catches, and then my sophomore year I had like 9 catches, 90 yards the whole season, no touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I played like the same. I played the same games, right? So I was just a different athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was the year of the Olympics, 2016, made the Olympics. We were there, and then came back. And like 3 weeks after the Olympics, I tore my left ACL against Nebraska, my second game back, which kind of sucked too because the game before that we played Virginia, and I had like 10 catches for like 120 yards and a touchdown. So I was like, oh, I'm right back on track. Like
Popping off, yeah.
I'm back to, yeah, I'm back to me, right? Like as an athlete playing football, that's kind of how your mentality is. You're the guy, and you're the baddest mofo out there, and that's how I felt. And then I go to the next game, Nebraska, tear my ACL. I'm like, damn. But luckily, I rehabbed well enough to make it back and run in that season. Um, and I did 2017, made the world team, and then competed at World's End. Off of ACL, but yeah, I think like it's just difficult mentally. I think the rehab part, obviously, everybody does. There's a lot of athletes that come back from ACLs. But mentally, it's just tough because you got to figure out what to do with your life, and video games is a big part of that. My roommates would if you talk to Mitch or Cole, I think those guys.
Yeah.
They would say that I was the worst when I was hurt because I was like so competitive playing video games for no reason.
So like so outside of video games, what'd you do to not only keep yourself like mentally positive, but also mentally get yourself back where you could physically quote unquote run the routes, do the cuts, hurdle again, but mentally, like you said, you got to kind of believe in yourself. What did you do to combat those things outside of video games?
Um, yeah, I think it's just one like a rehab perspective of it is just getting reps in, like repetitions of doing what you used to do,
Hmm.
and being confident in the actual injury. That's like the rehab side, but other than video games, I tried to kind of like work on what I'm not very good at. It doesn't have to be athletically, but it could be like you know communication skills, or maybe I don't like to read, or I wanted to learn the piano and I wasn't very good and I did that, and maybe I was struggling in school doing both sports, and then I get hurt, and then I go from a 3.0 to a 4.0 in one semester because I'm just really locked in and focused.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I just kind of focused on school at that moment when I did my first knee, because it was like 5 months or 4.5 months out from USA's and NCAA's. I was like, oh, that season's a wrap. So I just focused on school, and like I was really, it was my sophomore year in school, so I was trying to get into the business school and everything, and if you have like above a 3.5, you get in automatically. So I was just focused on making
yeah.
sure I can do that. So just something else you're interested in, and it's kind of lame that I'm saying school, but that's what I was focused on at the time.
Yeah, kind of answer. So the next question was just going to be like, what advice? Because obviously, like you said, everybody kind of goes through some kind of serious injury, whether or not it's a knee injury or not. You do go through, I feel like, a mental phase of not depression necessarily, but like you're finding it's like a tough to stay positive type avenue, and as well as just like that getting back. You like I even have it now. Like right before quarantine, I had like soleus Achilles, and I just remember going through a phase like right after the Olympics were canceled. I went through like 10 days where I was just like didn't want to do anything. Like, I was tired because like the injury wasn't getting better. I wasn't
Yeah,
training. Like I was just kind of like I didn't give up by any means, but I was just kind of like screw it. I'm taking 10 days, and like I don't really care what I do. Like if I go out and try to run or go for do lift, like it happens. If not, then like whatever. And I think like, even now I'm mentally catching myself like compensating for my Achilles and afraid to like step wrong off a trail or off a sidewalk because I'm like so scared of it. But it's
yeah,
almost like you just gotta kind of like get back to it. And I feel like every run I gain more confidence in like that injury, and I could see where 100% like I mean, couldn't imagine trying to go back from like a knee thing and then going out there and doing it again. But yeah, tough.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And we talked about this right before we went live. Is I've had like a similar Achilles issue this last year, since April of last year. So like now 14 months. And so like I wouldn't say I'd rather have a knee injury, but at this point I'm like, man, I take this Achilles thing, and to be honest, in like the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've kind of figured out what I need to do, and it's starting to get like progress a lot better. So I'll talk to you about that if you ever need some tips. Um, I've read like probably like 20 like medical journals on Achilles tendinopathy, and like you watching YouTube videos and all this stuff, and like trying to find the best way to do it. Obviously, because like the tendons are weird. They don't do well with rest.
You
You
gotta kind
gotta
of
you
like
gotta
work
keep
it. You
loading
gotta
them.
actually work it. Yeah.
Well, you gotta keep loading them to kind of get those fibers realigned, and everything firing in the right way. So, um, but then if you push the envelope like how we do when we train, is we can be out for another week. Just like
Yep.
we can't walk.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean that's part of the game. That's why we get we get compensated and by running in these meets and stuff, is because we have to deal with all this stuff, and we train hard, and injuries happen in all sports.
Yeah. All right. So one of the things we always kind of do is I always kind of talk about like specific race or some specific races with somebody. And I forgot to ask you about this before, but I'm sure you'd be fine with the race that comes to mind with you is 2016 trials, the leap
Yeah.
into the stands. Um, It's also your still your PR, correct? I believe, or it was your PR at the time. Is
It,
it still your PR?
it is, yeah, still my PR,
I mean,
unfortunately.
like take us through that weekend. I mean, you're still running the Oregon jersey. You're running that speed suit at Hayward Field at the Olympic trials. Everybody in Eugene loves you. Obviously at Autzen and at Hayward. You go out there and you're. I mean, I don't think you were. I don't know. Many people probably wouldn't consider you the favorite going into it. But then you kind of go out there and have the performance you had over the weekend. Take us through kind of the weekend and then really wrap it up with the leap into the stands as well.
Yeah, what's funny is I actually did a vlog for like the full 10 days of the competition. So I'm gonna put that out before the next Olympic trials because I never put it out, and I was like, well, now I can't. I gotta just sit on it.
Yeah.
Like I can't just put it out randomly. Like,
2016
so,
trials
but yeah,
vlog. Check it out.
yeah. So it was a good week, and obviously the Olympic trials are a good atmosphere and an awesome spectacle in Eugene, especially. And but yeah, I mean, I was super ready. I was feeling healthy. I was feeling fast, and and you can tell, every athlete can tell in their training leading up to a competition if they're going to kind of kill it. So I was really confident, and like you said, like as an athlete in my head, I was the favorite. Um, and I just kind of ran like that, and like you said, like the iconic jump into the stands. My parents told me kind of where they were sitting. They're like, yeah, we're in that little temporary stands at the 400-meter start, and I was like, okay, cool. So like I finished, and I was so juiced. And I was like, I gotta do, I'm just gonna jump into the stands, and I almost hurt myself. It's kind of like there's like a gap between the track and the like the stand, so I had to like jump over that gap and then like catch myself and then get over. And I'm wearing spikes,
Yeah, you're wearing
obviously,
spikes, like
so like
not the best climbing
not
shoes.
no. So, but it was cool because I saw my buddies, my buddy Johnny and Cam, who I played poker with every 3 times a week for years in college. They were the first ones to, and then my whole family was there, watching me and supporting me too. So
What's
pretty special.
what do you attribute that best race to? Was it the technique through the hurdles? Was it you were just adrenaline going, everything clicked for you? Um, like why would you say? And this is gonna be a tough question for you. Why do you think you haven't
Yeah,
been able to duplicate that race, and why do you think you haven't been able to necessarily run faster? Is it the technique you haven't been able to replicate, or what do you think? What led to that kind of race, that success to that race?
yeah, I think it's a combination of all things. Obviously, hurdles is not just a straight speed and power
Right.
thing. But obviously, I was fast there. I felt fast. Probably one of the most fit times of my life. Right. So super fit, super fast, and just clean and just locked in, ready to compete. The next year in 2017, I wasn't too far off my PB actually. I ran like 8 times under 13:20. Right. Like
Gotcha.
so, I
Yeah,
ran.
consistent.
Yeah, I ran some solid times. Right. I ran 13:10, 13:11, 13:13 twice, 13:15 twice, 13:16 a couple times, 18 a couple times. So I was just around there. So I was feeling confident. And then 2018, 2019 kind of been hampered with a little bit of like nagging injuries. Had some knee stuff going on from my other surgeries. So I got that cleared up. I went back up to Oregon in 2018 and had surgery to kind of get that cleared up. And then 2019 had the Achilles thing, pretty much the whole season starting from April, and just kind of like trying to manage that. I mean, you dealt with the
Hmm.
Achilles injury. You do as much as you can to manage it, but I really just wasn't training. So to run fast enough to make the world championship final really without training, like I was doing some stuff, but I wasn't like probably like 50% capacity, 50%
Yeah.
volume and 50%, days that I was hurdling and 50% days that I was sprinting and stuff like that. So, it's just tough. But that's how, that's how the game works.
Yeah, without I mean, never hurdled a day in my life. But just like seeing it from the outside in as a another track athlete, I feel like there's a sense to the 110 hurdles where it's very much like everything kind of has to be going right because it's such a package race where you got to be fast, you got to be fit, you got to be strong, and not only do you have to do that, you have to have the hurdle technique down, And then you got to
Hmm.
actually put it all together and get over however many hurdles you got to do in 110 meters. Like there's so many little things that you nick a hurdle here, you're off a half step. Like it's so difficult to recover. Whereas like in 100 even, you're just like, people think like, oh, you have no room for mistake in 100. But I feel like in 100 you have room for so many more mistakes comparative to those 110s.
No, yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, you got to put it all together and you kind of got to mesh it. Like 2018, I ran a PB in the 100, so I was, in theory, the fastest I've been. Right, but I didn't necessarily run the fastest in the hurdles, so
Right.
I didn't quite put it together. So it's just exactly what you said. You gotta mesh it, and it's kind of like a sweet ballroom dance. Like
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be with it, and you gotta kind of be in sync, with your partner, and you gotta be in sync with the hurdles. To kind of like you gotta be locked in because you can't just show up and not have hurdles for months or whatever. But yeah, so.
So like being in sync with the hurdles and having that hurdle technique and being as efficient and as fast as possible over the hurdles. What's your like, everybody has their kind of go-to workout that kind of shows them how fit they are, their test workout or their time trial
Yeah.
type workout. What is that for you? Is what workout kind of indicates for you where you're at?
A good indicator, and I actually just did this last week, and I was pretty stoked. But usually, I do like some kind of we do like a reduced hurdle workout to where I'm doing a standing start, so I'm not really putting the blocks. I'm not doing full distance to the first hurdle. I'm not running full distance to the first hurdle, but um, the goal is to be 2/10 under a second. So if I'm running over 8 hurdles, my touchdowns. And if I'm running over 10, it should be like 780 or 880. If I'm going over 12, and it needs to be closer to 1080, 1070. So I actually just ran a 8 hurdle PB on Friday. Um, I ran 680, 682, and then I finished up with a 120 from like just standing, and I ran 1208. So decent, without blocks and just running by myself. Solid day, and then actually ended up doing like some PBs in the weight room, like clean and jerks for like 260 pounds. Um, and some front squat stuff. So like I was pretty fired up on that Friday. So, but yeah, I think that workout, the reduced hurdle kind of long hurdle stuff, whenever I'm feeling like pretty fiery and pretty fast, I'm like, you know, I know I'm ready. So I technically ran a PB in that workout. So we'll see if there's a track season, if I can get into any meets, and see if I can run a PB this year.
Well, you just spoke 100% gibberish to me. I have no idea what any of those times retrospect. I mean, it sounds like you ran world
Mm.
record times to me. It sounds like you're in the best shape of your life and that you're going to go out there and smash everybody if there is a season, according to what you said. It was what it sounds like to me. I'm just going to go off gut instinct
Yeah.
there. Because I'm sitting here thinking it's crazy that we run the same sport, because what you just said makes absolutely no sense to me. And I could have no idea what you just. Whoa, I have no idea what just happened. There we go. You went green for like all green. There we go. But I have no idea
I
what
was getting hot.
sitting in the hallway. But yeah,
Yeah.
uh, but it's, I mean, it kind of is a side note. Just it's crazy how your sport's so much, your event's so much different, so much yeah, different than what we run in the middle distance.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say? You'd say like repeat fours, and you can run like 49s, and you're like, okay, I'm 49 off 2 minutes or a minute, and you're like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's something
Well,
like fours and twos, or if like
yeah,
if I've done a workout where like my top end speed's there, but then I went out and crushed some like long reps or crushed a really good long run. I know my strength is there. It's like for me, I've got to kind of put together two different types of workouts for me to really have super amount of confidence step on the track. But I would say if I could do some like short rest stuff where it's like a 5 and a 3 with like extremely short rest in between, or even like a 5, 3, and a 2 with like 100 meter jog in between at like that peak 800
yeah,
meter shape pace, like I'm at least ready to step on the track and compete. I'm a terrible time trialer and a terrible like workout sometimes person of not necessarily reaching like my full potential in workouts and then go out on the track and doing something to like when I ran that extremely fast time at Mount Sac in 17 when I ran 143. I remember doing a workout where I ran like a 350 and it was at 148 pace, and I like died. I couldn't even run like 350 meters at like 148 pace, and I was dying. And then like 10 days later, I ran like fastest time in April for an American, and I was like, I had no indicator that I would do that. So for
Yeah.
me, it's a little less like scientific. It's more about just like mentally, did I achieve a
Feel.
workout that like gave me some kind of confidence? And I know I've like indicated myself, but otherwise I just like screw it. Like who knows what kind of shape I'm in until I really do it.
No, that's fair. I feel you on that because even if you have even if you feel good some days, right? You just don't got it.
Yeah.
And some days you start to warm up, you don't feel great, and then you just like do a workout, and you're like, wow, I killed that workout, but I don't know why, I don't know how.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Exactly. All right, so we kind of touched a little bit on 2020. I'll kind of come back to that in 2021 and beyond that. Um, but I want to talk something about you that my streams brought up with me before this week, and this was before everything's come out about Christian Coleman. This was when Nassar, the 400 girl, had the whereabouts failures. 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, a
yeah,
week ago.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and a lot of people, there's a lot of social media debate, Let's Run debate, all the social media flow track. All these people are talking about what's right, who's wrong, what's the difference. I've kind of talked a little bit about it, and and I'll let you kind of talk first. How do you handle your daily setup of where you're going to be, your 60-minute window? But I guess for real quick, for those of you who don't know, is as an athlete in a testing pool for USADA and WADA, which are the U.S. anti-doping and the World anti-doping, as an athlete, if you're in their testing pool, you're required to daily have your whereabouts logged, where you're going to be working out at. If you're going to be somewhere that's further than, what do they say, 30 minutes to an hour away from your house, you should log that. Where if you're going to be lifting, and then there's 60-minute window a day where you have to be at the location that you put, and that's when they can come and show up and test you without really supposed to be no notification. Again, Christian Coleman's exposed the gray area that I think it's really there. But I want to hear from you, like how you handle your whereabouts when your 60-minute window is, and if you have any thoughts about really what's going on in the world of whereabouts and drug testing at this point.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing, and it could be good or bad, is we as athletes don't necessarily understand fully um, exactly what's expected of us. I think,
Yeah, I
um,
100% agree with that.
like 100%, because you talk about this. Okay, so as an athlete, right, my 1 hour period, I make it easy on myself. I do it from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m.
That's
Because
usually mine is.
realistically,
Mine's usually first thing in the
yeah, it's
morning.
like that's most people. Realistically, one, I go pee right away, right when they come.
Yep.
Like, it's one and done.
The worst
And
is when you
two,
wake up to go to the bathroom at like 5 a.m. or 5:30
yeah, and then
for that random, and then
and then
they
they
knock
come.
on your door at 6 a.m. and you're just like, dude, like you're gonna have to hang out for like 30 more minutes because like I just peed before you walked in. I feel like that
Yeah.
happens all the time.
No, it
But
sucks.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, no. So, yeah. So, like, I do mine early in the morning. So that's like my, and then when we submit our whereabouts every quarter, right? Like, we have to do a whole 3-month calendar. Okay, like, and they say, okay, where are you going to be training? And for the most part, we kind of know where we're going to be training, but it can change, right? So, for me, I just put the same place and the same time every day. Like, but I know for a fact I'm not going to be training there. Like, if I'm training, like I'm in Annapolis right now, I train at the Naval Academy. So, am I going to be training at the same time every single day? Maybe, maybe not. But as of now, I haven't been. Right, like I was at
Mm-hmm.
9 o'clock today. Yesterday, I was at 11. On Tuesday, I was at 1. But I have 11 o'clock on my whereabouts. So if they came to test me at the track, in theory, right, I wouldn't be there, and they'd have to call me.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I guess that's the third kind of, like you said, gray area and place where we're confused is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and and I'm only speaking on personal experience, but I, for one, have not been like, I was just you can look online. I was looking on earlier. You can go on to test athletes. You can see how many times you've
Yeah.
been tested in a year. Okay, so 2018 I was tested 11 times, and in 2017 I was tested 7 times. No, no, 2019. So last year I was tested 7 times at a competition.
Yeah.
So USADA, they come to
Showing
my
up to your
house.
house. Yep.
Um, which is definitely the highest for for men hurdlers in the U.S. But it's expected. I'm 3-time U.S. champ, indoor champ. One of the best hurdlers in the U.S. for a while here, and obviously, there's some expectation for the higher level athletes, which I agree with. But the thing is, that is, I haven't been tested every single time at my 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. window. When and that's the thing I don't understand is are they not supposed to call during that window? Because one, my house has a doorbell, so I haven't had an issue with that necessarily. But when I was in Oregon, I didn't have a doorbell, and my roommate would just wake me up because he was closer to the door.
Right.
But what if I didn't hear it, right? So for one, what if I didn't hear it and he's just banging on my door for an hour at 6 a.m. and the guy or the girl, who tests me and whoever tests me now, now that I'm in Maryland, what if they don't call me? What happens?
Yep.
So that's kind of like the frustrating the thing that's kind of sad because it sucks for Christian, and Christian's one of my friends, and I feel for him. So that's kind of like the gray area we don't understand is are they not supposed to call during our 1 hour where we're supposed to be at home? Okay, if that's the case, then the other times that I've been tested when I'm not at home, I mean not at home, when it's not during the 1 hour, because I would say probably 50% of my tests are not during that
1 hour,
6
60
a.m. to
minute window.
7 a.m. Yeah. Right. So they're not right at 6, which is fair too, because they actually have, according to USADA, they can test any time of the day.
Between like, what is it? It's
It's just
between like 6 a.m. and 9 or something like that, or something. It's
yes,
pretty much most of
exactly,
the day. Most
6,
of the day.
yeah, most of the day. So that's the thing is they could, I've been tested. I went up to Portland for some treatment with Dr. Whitaker
Yeah.
up in Portland, and I land. I changed my whereabouts, and I actually changed my whereabouts after I landed. So if they would have came to my house while I was flying, I would
Yep.
have been screwed. But the next day, they come to my hotel, and I'm getting ready to and it's just luck, right? Because I'm literally so I'm in my hotel. My windows at 6 7. This is in February. This is recent. Windows from 6 to 7 a.m. I'm in my hotel 6 p.m. My buddy Jake Pisarchik, who I went to college with, lineman with me, he lives in Portland. He's like, "Hey, let's go to dinner." I said, "Great, let's meet at 7." And the place we're meeting is at it's about 30 minutes away, wherever I'm from.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting dressed. I'm literally getting ready to leave my hotel. My hotel room phone rings, and it's the drug person calling because they need permission from me to let them up into my hotel where I'm staying in Portland. But what happens if I am on now in an Uber to dinner,
Yep.
right? Because
Do
they
they
didn't
call
call my
you?
cell phone. They
Because they
called my
called the hotel phone. Do
That's
they
the
call
thing.
your cell phone and
They
ask
call
you
my
like,
I don't know.
because I've been in a
Yeah,
situation
I'm
where
not sure,
like
right?
where
Because I
like
don't know. I don't know.
a teammate of mine, we were on our way to the airport. This is when we were still in college. We were on our way to the airport, and a teammate of mine was in the testing pool, and as well, we were on our way to a meet. He got a phone call that they were at the house in Akron, and we were at the airport in Cleveland, and he hadn't updated his whereabouts yet. But he got a phone call saying that they were there, and they came to the Cleveland airport and tested him in the bathroom before he got on the plane. But
Yeah,
yet,
that's happened to me.
but it's like, what would
I was
happen
at
if like
football and
they're not supposed to call? Like, I think that's the problem. I think there's no like, I think like most athletes would just like, and I get the point of like what you're saying. There's a fine line between like not knowing as well as like knowing too much, but like a simple
yeah.
understanding of, because it's like what happens if someone doesn't have like the Ring video camera doorbell, and or their
Well,
door is not working,
yeah,
or like, or they
yeah.
don't hear the knock on the door but they're there. Like, that's not like they're like evading. Like, I mean, it's a fine line
I
between
mean,
like, you
but
quote unquote, you don't think they're evading, but like at least make an honest effort to like try to get a hold of them, in my opinion.
well, yeah, and it's the only thing is, with the last one in December, if that holds true, right, is it sucks because they didn't call them or and you see in social media, there's a whole bunch of people, saying that they're not supposed to call, and that might be the case in the UK. Maybe the UK drug testers aren't allowed to call the athletes. The UK drug testers are only allowed to drug test them during their window. Make the set the precedent is different. I don't know all the rules. UCADA or whatever, but right, like if if it's not in my window and you don't call me, how am I supposed to know you're there? And how am I supposed to be available to be drug tested if But they're also allowed whenever, right? Because I've been tested
Yeah.
out of my window,
Because like you're saying, like
and
you
I've
had a
had
random
I've had
friend ask you to dinner. Like it's not like you're gonna go in there and have to make an exact change 15 minutes before you leave for dinner. Like what if Ari and I decide randomly after I get off this after the stream and it's 8 o'clock at night and say, hey, we wanna go to Chick-fil-A and have dinner, late night dinner, and we're gonna go have Chick-fil-A. We're gonna
or
sit
whatever.
and
Yeah,
yeah and have like a date night. And we're gone for an hour, and they come to the house. Like, and if I didn't have a video camera doorbell, I would never know, but I'd be 5 minutes away. And it's just like
yeah,
there's a fine line between obviously not telling them and the evasion part, but there's also the just like the system has like its
yeah.
flaws where it doesn't really necessarily like work. And so I think it's like
No, I think that's the biggest thing. Exactly what you said is like maybe we just don't understand what's expected of us fully. Yes, it seems fair that you can be expected to be at one place an hour a day during the day and keeping track
correct.
of that. Okay. But also, right, like exactly like your friend, I've had tests where they've I can't remember if it's during my hour or not because it was in the morning. So I usually set up a morning drug test. But I have had times where in Oregon I had got in the car, drove to the football facility. I'm in meetings now, 7, 8 a.m. And I got a phone call. Hey, we're at your house, drug test for drug test. I said, okay, I'm at meetings. He says, okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes. They, like you said, they came to
Yep.
the football facility. I literally walked downstairs to the bathroom with them and do my drug test, and bam.
Yep.
And I don't believe that if that was not allowed, that would happen, right? Like it feels like it's allowed,
Yeah, it's
and it
just
feels like it's kind of a normal. It's kind of like a normal practice to if you can't get a hold of somebody within like a first knock or 10, not whatever. Because I've straight, and on the other end of the spectrum, I've straight missed drug tests. I've had a filing whereabouts one year where I just missed the date, which kind of sucks. It's stupid on me. But I've had, I flew to Paris for a track meet, and I'm in the air for
yep.
12 hours, and they came to test me, and I literally just have like text from my stepmom saying, hey, they came to the house today. This is right when I moved back to Phoenix, so I moved in with my dad while I was getting my house built. And they're like, yeah, the drug people came and we told them that you weren't there and they just left. And I get a missed test.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
happened to me. It's
So
happened to me. I
things
mean,
like,
I had the exact same situation.
things like that happen
I
and
was
it's
training
my
here.
fault,
They came to
right?
Portland. Like it's just I slipped up. I extended my
Yeah.
stay in Akron for 2 extra weeks, and I didn't update my whereabouts. I was supposed to fly home on Sunday night. I didn't update my whereabouts. They showed up Monday morning to my Portland address, and obviously, like I was still in Akron. And I extended my trip, and like that's like an honest mistake. Like that was just an honest mistake. It happens. Like it's why they gave you 3. Is like it happens. But
Yeah.
I think for
Well, you only
me,
get
like
two, but
the real change is like I think it comes with like clarity of the athletes, like what is expected of notification wise, what is expected of
yeah,
us as far
both
as
sides.
like of that. I think there's also a thing of this 60-minute window that at like some point in this window, whether it's say it's 45 minutes in or whatever, I think is a time where you have to like try to contact the person and give them an honest effort. And if you don't hear back from them in 15 minutes, like then at that point the window's over. But if they are like, hey, like yeah, I'm at meetings. Like my meeting actually jumped a half an hour earlier in the day, and I had to jump out of my house real fast for a meeting, and like I'm literally 10 minutes down the road. I'm not evading you. I just had an earlier meeting than I thought. Like
Yeah.
it's just like I
Yeah.
think there's an honest effort on both sides. It's just a matter of how they
Yeah.
reach that clarity without obviously making it easy to avoid it. I guess if you're trying to avoid it, but if you miss it, you miss
Yeah.
it. I mean,
No,
it's hard
I
to
agree.
argue, but
No, I agree. I agree. I think they got to be as stern as possible. But like we see it in the media and social media, like just random people are giving people such a hard time, and like he was explaining one of his missed tests that he was in the weight room. they had an early lift, and he was in the weight room, and he didn't have his phone on him, and that like is a normal thing, right?
Yeah.
So like, what if coach says, hey, I can't make lift after practice, so we're gonna do 5 a.m. lift for one day a week. I don't know the exact story. I'm just making stuff up, but stuff that happens all the time. So it sucks because Christian's one of my friends, and obviously I don't want to see him be be hurt and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean the rules are there, but they're also a little confusing as an athlete. I think that's on us as well. Is like we need to care more. Um, because I'm very lazy. Like even my last whereabouts, I literally put 6, 7. Like I literally went through everything and said I'm training the same time every day. I have no meets. I don't work. I don't do anything. So I'm literally just giving them that 1 hour window a day to test me, and I'm not giving them any information. And that's just being lazy because now every day of the week, it's not going to be the same for me. So now I got to go back and change. Like in the future, like especially when we know our track season, like when we have meets, because we know what meets we're going
Yeah.
to be running and when we're going to be traveling and stuff. So
Because
it
also
sucks.
like it's in my situation I'm in now is like, and I'm literally sitting here thinking about it because I get the notification at 8 p.m. every night where I get an email and a text
Yeah,
of
me
like
too.
where my next day. But like I don't have a training window in tomorrow. But at some point I'm gonna go run. Like at some point I'm gonna leave my house and run for 45 minutes to 60 minutes. And so it's
Yeah,
it's a 15-minute drive to where I run every day, 15-minute drive back plus an hour run. I'm gone for 90 minutes. Like I run with my
yeah.
Apple Watch 90% of the time. So obviously if they show up
You
here,
could be,
Ari's
you
gonna
could
call
be,
me,
yeah,
but
yeah.
and I'm gonna have them come meet me at the run or do whatever.
Well,
But
and
what
that,
if I'm
and
what if
that's
I'm
the
doing a
thing.
workout and I don't have my Apple Watch on and I'm doing a
Yeah,
run and like but I don't know when I was gonna go train. It was a very last minute thing. Do I have to immediately like update that like instantly or like it's so it's just weird like but I mean we
no,
could we
well,
could sit and debate it for an hour and
yeah,
never really come to
no. I
any
mean
kind
that,
of like conclusion of like what they could
and
do.
that's 100% the thing. Like I've had times where Mitch has called me, "Hey, the drug guy's here," and I've had times because I live with a Canadian athlete and another American athlete and my girlfriend who's Australian, and they've come to my house and be like, "Oh yeah, we're not here for you, Devin. We're here for Blam Bam and my girlfriend." And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like, what if they're not here, or what if you can always say what if, but like I could notify them and say, hey, drug testing's here for you. You know, if you're at the store, if you're in Phoenix or whatever, come back
Yeah.
and get drug tested because they got an hour, right? Like, but so
Yeah, I mean, I had the same
I guess
situation
that's
with
the
Ari
thing.
and I. I mean, Ari, they'd show up and
Yeah,
sometimes get very rarely, but they would very rarely to get both of it at the same time, which was really fun. I mean, a funny story about drug testing, and then we can move on. So I'm in Portland. I've been in Portland for not even a week. I had my apartment in Beaverton in June of 17, and I'm in Engels doesn't have a place to stay yet, so he's sleeping on an air mattress in my living room for like a weekend until he finds his place. And the guy comes and drug
yeah,
tests me at my 6 a.m. window, and Engels sleeps through the entire thing in the living room. And I say something about like Craig Engels like staying with me, and he's like, "Is that Craig Engels laying there?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Actually, I have to test him late too, so let's wake him up." I was like, they just happened
that's
to be
happened to me.
testing Craig, and he just happened to be sleeping in my
No,
living room at the same time and just tested him.
that's 100% because they get like and I don't know exactly how it works, but from what I've been explained, they get like a window of dates they
Right.
have to
And
come
it
test
depends
you,
on the type of
right?
test as well, of like and like how long they
Yeah, it could
have
be a
and like stuff like
specific
that.
time. Yeah, exactly. So like, if I'm there and then my roommate, is there as well. Oh yeah, we'll just test you because we got to test you here soon anyway. So let's get them all done. And that could happen. But yeah, I mean, like you said, we could debate about it and argue about it. I think the number one take is just that it's not confusing, but it's hard to as an athlete to understand exactly what's expected of us and expected that we are going to get
A fair shot
not
at it.
leeway. Yeah, not leeway wise, but like if we get a call every time, then we're gonna expect a call every time.
Yep.
That's just human. It's human nature.
It's just
So
it's a fair chance and a fair test. I think that's what everybody's looking for. It's just like exactly what you're saying. So we'll move
yeah,
on from that. I mean, like I said, debated all night, but we'll move on. The rest of 2020 obviously is in question. We kind of talked a little bit about you coming back from the Achilles, a little bit about how you're getting back to training. You've run an eight hurdle PR not that long ago, so obviously you're the fittest you've ever been. You're ready to rip. Uh, but 2021 being Olympic year, 22 Worlds, 23, all these championships backed up. Like, what are we going to expect from you next season? What's kind of your mindset going into the next cycle here, Tokyo and beyond? Where are you kind of at for as far as 2021 and beyond?
To be honest, and I'm gonna give you some good insight. Is just my goal is to be as dominant as an athlete as I can be. So this year, my goal was to get as fast as possible. So I'm gonna try to sneak into some hundreds and see if I can join Omar McLeod with as a hurdler that has gone under 10 seconds flat in the 100 as well. And then obviously getting to some hurdle races. There's been some stuff announced in the Diamond League and stuff like that. So we just got to figure out if I can get in, and the policies with coronavirus and everything.
Which, did
That's
you hear
going
about
on.
Monaco?
So
What the testing is for Monaco? Well, you got to
yeah,
test before
so
you
I
get
got
on
to
the
figure.
plane. You got to get on the plane. You got to quarantine. You got to test again. You got to run. You got to test. I'm just like, dude, like, how many nasal
Yeah.
swabs do you want shoved up your nose?
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. So I really want to be ready to run fast when I have the chance, because I'm gonna have to go through a whole bunch of
Yeah.
hoops and stuff. So that's my goal: run super super fast. Obviously, next year Olympic gold medal. And then after that, I want to keep running track, but I think I'm going to try to play football. So just be so good, hopefully get my, kind of hone in this track stuff and like, get healthy and feel good and start running consistent 13-0s, 12s and stuff like that, to where I can be, really dominant, and then play some football. And then when track season comes after football season, I can jump back in and be competitive. So
Yeah.
that's the goal. You got
That
some
next
insight.
question was football comeback, because I know you talked about it. I know it's always like brought up in conversation. I know you haven't forgot about it. But dude, I think it'd be really cool to see you back in Sundays, maybe someday. Back on Sundays.
Yeah,
Question.
I gotta put some weight on.
Me too, dude. Me too. How do you like the new Hayward Field? Somebody asked. What's your
Is that a question for me or you?
for you for you for you?
Uh, I haven't seen it in person. I think the pictures and videos of it look sick. They announced there's going to be a Prefontaine meet in October, right? So we'll see if I get to run in that. But I'm pretty excited to check it out. I mean, I think like the spectacle of having this, elite stadium in the U.S. is now pretty cool.
And I think the other thing too, and I've talked about this too, is like I think the Hayward fans are not going to go anywhere. I think like the mystique of that like knowledge they have of the Hayward roar and the Hayward clap is still going to be there. It's just going to be even bigger because obviously it's
Yeah, I
just
think
like
it
you
might
said,
be
it's
bigger.
a huge and spectacular.
Yeah.
So someone asked me, it's a fun little question here. Someone texted me while we were on here. They said that when they Google your name, you're known as a football wide receiver according to Google, not an Olympian,
Yep.
not a track star. But yet every picture you have, the first couple pictures is all track. Do you feel disrespected by Google, or just Google uninformed about what your current focus is?
Dude, you know what? I'm a big Google guy. I'm a shareholder in Google. I have some stocks, so I would say I own Google. But you also can't listen to everything.
This is not a financial
you're
podcast. We are not recommending buying and selling any stocks based on recommendations of this podcast in this video. I want to make that clear that we are not a Track
Make
Talk
that clear.
finance podcast.
Yeah. You gotta tune in next week for that.
Tune in
No.
next week for the financial talk with Devon.
I think he's probably looking like a Wikipedia page. It's probably the first thing that pops up, and so you can write whatever you want. I'm sure I could go in there and edit it and change it.
Professional
wanted
Call of
to.
Duty player. We'll go and change that after the stream. Professional Call of Duty player. Runs a little track on the side. Used to play football a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. So no, but I don't feel disrespected. It's good. Buy Google stocks. Okay.
Okay,
Cool. Yep.
got it. Yeah. All right. So the one thing I forgot to do is I always do a Mount Rushmore with a guest. So with Robbie Andrews, it was Mount Rushmore of desserts. With Justin Knight, it was Mount Rushmore of the best, the current favorite NBA players. I'm gonna tap into a little something of the business side here, and in this Google investment kind of got me thinking here. If you weren't an athlete, okay, and you could pick any jobs to be, what would be your Mount Rushmore of your dream jobs? CEO of Tesla, like what would CEO of Amazon? What would be your dream jobs? Your Mount Rushmore of dream jobs? Or they could be, I mean, they could be stripper. I mean, they could be dancer. You know, it could be Hooter girl.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from just like all athlete stuff because that's kind of cliche. So
Yeah.
obviously, I would enjoy coaching and being a trainer and stuff like that, and most athletes do. Um, Mount Rushmore of jobs. I would love to be. I really like the show Suits, so I love to be like
Dude, I
a
love
corporate
Suits.
lawyer.
Suits. If I
Yeah,
could be
so
anybody, I'd be Harvey Specter, bro. Harvey Specter is the
yeah,
man, dude.
corporate lawyer. I'm really interested in like I wouldn't say like necessarily fashion. I do like fashion, but I think like making like
Like some
items like
design.
wallets. Yeah, like what? No, like not, I wouldn't say leather working because it doesn't necessarily have to be leather, but like wallets and canvas, bags and stuff like that. So I could say like a designer of
Gotcha.
sorts. Yeah, so like a designer.
Yeah.
And then my third, I'm just gonna do three and keep it simple.
Yeah. That's fine.
The third job, probably my most, because I'm going the other way too. So I think my number one job would be chef.
Oh, really? Are you a
Yeah,
big cook
I know you.
then? Are you a big cook?
I'm a big cook. I cook every day. I know you're a big. You're sommelier, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or no?
I like my wine.
What's your title? No. Yeah.
Sommelier,
So like
sommelier,
you're
yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily a
so
sommelier where like I'm what the restaurant serving, but more of just a
yeah,
wine knowledge expert, I guess. You can
kind
just
of
go with that
yeah,
currently.
wine connoisseur. I
Yeah,
need you
yeah.
to give me a couple good wines, but chef. Yeah, I like cooking a lot, and I freaking Food Network is my shiz.
Are you like a griller? Do you love to grill out? You like a baker, or are you just more of just like cook anything you want to throw in front, try new things?
Yeah. So recently, like with quarantine, everybody's been baking, right? So like
Right.
I've been trying a lot of new things. I don't have a grill at my home in Annapolis. I do in Phoenix, but so I like to grill. Like burger, steak, whatever. And then I recently have gone on this like pizza. So I've been making like homemade dough and like rolling out the pizza
Yeah,
and
that
like
sounds good. Are
oven
you like
it. Yeah,
throwing it?
like
Are
so I've
you
been
throwing
going.
it around the kitchen? Are you practicing like the spin and everything?
So so there's two types of doughs that I've actually made. I've made like a really thin like cracker crust.
Okay.
I like thin crust pizza anyways, but like thin cracker to the sense that like there's no yeast so it doesn't rise.
Yeah.
And like very flat and like hard, like like cracker.
Yeah.
And then the next dough is also like a regular dough, but I just thin it out so it's thin, but it still kind of bubbles around the crust. And that one is the one I like, knead with my hands. I don't really do a throw. I kind of just like I roll it through my knuckles. Like I was like watching
Gotcha.
YouTube videos
Okay.
on how to do it, like stretch it without like ripping a
That's
hole
like
into
your
it.
competitive side of you again coming out right there of the
Yeah.
how good can I make this pizza? So I want to watch YouTube videos and watch film
No,
on
it has to be
rolling the
perfect.
dough.
Yeah. I'll post a picture on my Instagram next time I make pizza. I usually make them on Sunday.
I
So,
expect that. I expected Instagram next week. Um,
okay.
but yeah, I didn't know that. So I didn't know that you were a big chef guy. I think I did know. I knew you liked to cook, but I by no means did uh, know you were a wannabe professional chef. I mean,
Well,
Chef
I
Boyardee over
just
here.
yeah, I just taught myself, right? Like I like, there's basic chef skills like how to hold a knife that like unless you're like taught, you never know, or like
You
how
just
to
well,
cut
however you
and
cut it, you know, you just however I slice the
exactly.
tomato is how I slice the
Yeah,
tomato, you know,
yeah.
like.
So like I just been learning about that stuff, so it's fun.
Well, if you ever do need wine suggestions for your fancy next meal, let me know. I'll always suggest yeah
I do
utilize
need
my
like a
wine knowledge.
couple, but it's hard because like I need you with me, like just standing there in the liquor store, like that one's good, that one's good, that one's good, as opposed to like you just sending me a list and I'm like
I can give
searching
you
for
some.
it.
I can give you some good regions and stuff. I mean, usually if you know kind of what you're gonna cook, and then you buy off the region a little bit, the region in the country, you at least can get somewhere close. Obviously, you can get bad vineyards, bad producers, but if you stay within
Yeah,
like
you
a
get
decent
decent
price
taste.
bottle, like you don't buy bottom shelf stuff, but then you buy from the right regions at least, you can get some decent stuff without really knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really into like sweet alcohol, so I'm like a hard cider guy and
Oh, Ari loves sweet wine.
like a like yeah, sweet wine, hard cider. I like high noons and Bud Light
Dude, high
seltzers and all
noons are
that
so
stuff.
good. We're talking about alcohol now, but Crooker and Marks, the hard seltzer Crooker and Marks are like
And no
so
free,
good.
no free shout outs. We gotta get
Yeah.
this. We gotta get sponsored by
Yeah.
Bud Light Seltzer.
The stream sponsored Bud Light Seltzer. I love that. I love it. I love it. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us. I appreciate you talking about this. I mean, you went through a lot doing both and then facing a lot of pretty serious injuries and now obviously dealing with what you're dealing with, a lot of transition in your life, the Achilles, and now bouncing back. Wish you luck if I mean, obviously I'll see you on the circuit here for the rest of the season if we get back out there. But if I don't, good luck when you get back out there the rest of the season, and we'll be on the circuit next year for sure. And I guarantee you your 8-hurdle PR will translate into some good things very soon.
Yeah, I hope so. No. Thanks for having me. It was fun chatting. I don't do anything but game and eat. So away from the kitchen, getting fat is good. So I appreciate you having me on.
No, I appreciate it. We'll run some games soon, if not tonight, or we'll run some games soon. We'll get you back on stream as a gamer, and then let chat kind of prove you that you're pretty good at it. So I appreciate it, and thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it.
Cool. All right, bro. Bye.
Thanks, man. All right, chap. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, technically week 2. Oh, we are not centered now. We are gonna we're just gonna sit here because then I have to recenter the whole thing and it's just not worth it. I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. I appreciate you guys asking questions. So I'm not sure. I actually might stream tomorrow. I'm not gonna promise anything, but I might hop on tomorrow. Saturday's a little busy for me, but we'll be back Monday for sure, if not tomorrow. And appreciate you guys hanging out. I got to get Justin up on YouTube. I had a little trouble and been dealing with a lot with the Akron thing, but I'll work on it. Get you guys up. Get Justin up soon, and then in the next day or two, and then get up Devon Allen next. So I appreciate you guys hanging out, and if you have suggestions of guests you'd guys like to see in the following weeks, let me know. But until next time, I appreciate you, chat. And have a good night. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you next time.